Hey everybody, welcome out. Hey, this is Chris Miles, cash flow expert and the financial advocate for the entrepreneur. And excited to be able to do a webinar with you guys. This is the first time I've done a webinar in about 4 months, at least my own webinar. So excited to be able to be on and be able to teaching you guys again. Many of you guys might have heard me through my podcasts. I know some of you guys have reached me through there. Great. If you haven't listened to my podcast, feel free to check it out on iTunes. It's called the Chris Miles Money Show. It's more audible, so it's not visual. I like face-to-face sometimes as well, but at least audibly you get to have that stuff too. So check it out, the Chris Miles Money Show for sure. Hey, so I want to talk today about how do we actually get your money working for you so you're not always working for your money? What are some creative ways to increase your income? So for those of you guys that are on the chat right now, how many guys are on here because you want to increase your income or you're looking for other ways to stop working so hard for money? Who does that apply to here? Go ahead and type in the chat here. Michelle says me. Derek says this guy. I love it. Cool. Well, awesome. I'll definitely agree with that. And for those of you who may not know me, this is my story. I actually started out being a financial advisor about 14 years ago from the recording of this video. And in those 4 years as a financial advisor, like the traditional one, I was the normal guy wearing the suit, the tie, the white shirt and tie, everything you think of, slicked hair, everything that you could think of as a financial advisor, I looked like that guy. And, I did that for a while, but I'll tell you that after a time, it was hard to deny evidence. I don't know about you guys, but I like evidence. I like to know that things work, right? I like to see proof. And after 4 years, I started looking at financial advisors. I started looking at people that financial advisors would consult with, they would give advice to. And especially when I inherited clients, it was a big eye-opener to me because I came on right after Y2K. And so, or during the Y2K, really. It was actually during that period of time, after 9/11, that I came on as a financial advisor. And I remember people saying, oh, what happened to that financial advisor? I hope they're in jail. Things like that. You're like, wow, that's awesome. I'm so glad I'm in this industry right now, especially when the market was tanking when I got in, right? And so it was a really interesting time to be a part of that. And, but over time, as I started to get to know people that were millionaires, like real millionaires, people that did understand money in a very different way, I realized that it's not just about being different, but it's the exact opposite. It's totally the opposite. And that's when I started realizing, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe what I'm teaching doesn't work. Because they're always about to sacrifice, save everything, suffer, spend nothing. Put all your money in stocks and just spend your entire life saving and working hard so that someday you might be able to retire, right? And my dream was that if I could retire by 40 with about $2 million, then I was set. However, after about 4 years, so 2006, March of 06, I remember meeting some of these guys and they were saying, man, this stuff is bull, it doesn't work, here's why. And they'd say, like, be in it for the long haul, because, if you keep saving and saving, someday, eventually the long haul will pay off. Well, what if that's not when you want to retire? My dad was a good example. He was about ready to retire when 2000 hit, and then when 2000 hit, he said, oh, I can't retire at all. And he had to delay his retirement nearly 15 years because of that. That's the kind of crap that we've been taught our entire lives, right? We've been taught all the same stuff, and it still hasn't worked. So if it hasn't worked for retirees for the last 30 or 40 years, who says it's going to work for you for the next 10, 20, or 30 years from now, right? That's my point. That's why I said, I can't teach this stuff anymore, and I quit. I said, I'll never do it again. March of 06, I left. I said, I'll just do mortgages and help people that way, but I can't keep being a financial advisor. However, what's interesting is that as I took the principles and the strategies, applied them together, real principles. We'll talk about some of those today as well as some of the strategies. As I did that, what was interesting is that by July, I was able to retire working only a couple hours a week. I was making $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And it blew my mind because that's when I realized that it wasn't about saving up all this huge amount of money and then live off the interest. It was about creating cash flow. And what do I mean by cash flow? Is income's here, your expenses are here, this is freedom. Now when income's here and the expenses are up here, that's crap. Life sucks, right? Makes sense? So we want cash flow. We want money coming in, and especially if it could be residual, it's even better. And I'll tell you, over the last year, I've had several clients coming in where, they've wanted to get out of that rat race. They didn't want to be the person that's just working their tail off forever. How many of you, just out of curiosity, for those of you that are on this right now, type in, how many of you are business owners? Say yes or no if you're a business owner. or have a part-time business or something like that? So Melissa says yes. Melissa, good to have you on. Ish. Okay, cool, Derek. Yes, awesome. Michelle says yes as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, so great. I mean, business owners are like people that I tend to work with a lot, obviously, because you guys have so much more freedom to create more income. Now, even if you're not, I've even had some people recently where I had a woman come on where she actually worked for a credit union of all places. And we were actually able to help her and actually starting to create some streams of income for her. But even before we created streams of income, just on the cash flow side of the things I teach outside of this, we were able to find $4,163 a month that she's able to have back in her life again that she didn't have before. So that's like 50 grand a year. That was pretty awesome. And now we're starting to work on how do we create more money with the money that she has. And that's getting kind of fun too. And we're in the middle of that process. And so a lot of people I've been working with lately have had a certain amount of money they've started to save up. Either they've gotten more cash flow and they're starting to actually have some profit, or and that's great too. We help people that way as well. But or I've been having people where they've had like retirement accounts and funds. How many of you guys have like some sort of retirement account that you had either from the past or current or whatever it might be? How many of you guys have some sort of retirement accounts you've been using or savings, even if it's just sitting in a bank? Derek, you do? Awesome. Michelle, yes. Cool. I figured that would be several of you as well, because if you want your money working for you, so you always work for your money, that's a big thing. So granted, it's a two-pronged approach. I'm talking about the one prong of the income side today, not so much like how do we reduce your taxes by $5,000 to $10,000+ a year. I'm not talking about that, or how to recapture money and profits from your business or from home and restructuring debt. We're not talking about any of that today. It's just about income. And that's something that's been kind of a fun niche area that we've been working on with several of my clients this year. And so I want to share that with you. My goal is that obviously is that some of these ideas are ideas that could get you money in 90 days or less. I'm not opposed to people investing in things that take longer. I mean, sometimes a business takes longer than 90 days to get going. But a lot of times you can usually get income coming in within 90 days, even in that scenario, right? And so what are some really creative ways that you can actually start creating income right now? You guys ready for this? You good? All right, let's dig into it. Okay, so I'm going to start with simple and then work progressively up. So one way, many times I get people, I'm looking at ways for people to generate more income. I'll look at the possibilities of increasing their income, even just from an employee contractor sort of position. The thing is that even if you're a business owner, being a contractor or even an employee is always an option. You know, I want you to understand that you haven't burned all your bridges, that there's always options. And I even consider myself, quote unquote, unemployable. I don't know if you guys are like this, where you worked in business so long that, you know, being employed is not even an option. I mean, you look at my resume, and it's kind of a crazy little resume because it's been in business for 14 years. You know, I've had there like, you know, about 10+ years ago. But for the most part, you know, I've been pretty much in business. But the cool thing is that you have value. In fact, let me teach you a little bonus here. I teach this to all my clients, and this is key. In fact, if you know me at all, I will burn this in your brain like crazy, because this is what got me to retire. The key principle is this, is that dollars follow value. If you want more money coming in your life, you got to start asking, how do I create more value for more people? What can I do to create more value for more people? Or you can even ask this question too, how can I create a lot more value for less people? You know, now granted, it's great to create leverage, you know, and you create more value for more people, and that's great. But sometimes you don't have to create that much value for a lot of people. You know, for example, if you wanted to make $1 million today, the thing you have to ask yourself is, okay, if I had 100 people I serve, well, how would I be able to create $1 million from 100 people? Well, what's 1 million divided by 100? It's 10,000. So the question is, can you create at least $10,000 of value for 100 people? And there is your $1 million. If it's not 100, what if it's 1,000? That's 1,000 people at $1,000 each, or 10 people at $100,000 each, or one person at $1 million, right? You know, and you can keep going. You could be 100,000 people at $10 a piece. I mean, this all stuff is just really math. When you really think about it, it's like, how do I create value in such a way that I can add more value, justify more value in their mind than what they pay? Because people will always pay for what they believe is more value. Even if it's just a little bit more, they will pay more about that. And so when I started to focus, instead of just trying to do transactions or sales in my financial advising business, or trying to just serve people, and I believe that service back then was, I had to like destroy myself, right? I had to, you know, undercut all my commissions or undercut all my fees so that people would be happy. only to find out it was actually the exact opposite. When I undercut my fees, people actually didn't value me at all and wouldn't pay me as much. And so when I start to get my fees at least to the average, if not higher than the average, that's when all of a sudden people said, hey, okay, you seem like you're quality, can you back it up? And then when I could back it up, it created a reputation that yes, he can. And what's amazing, it was so much easier to make money. I remember that happened with mortgages. And this is where I was a contractor in this case. Is I decided I was going to contract doing mortgages and be a broker in that sense. Now when I did that, what's interesting is that I was about creating value, but I was trying to cut my fees down. When I kept my fees the same, the thing is people actually stopped shopping me as much. They stopped competing, trying to find the cheaper price. They said, all right, let's do it. And the thing is I would deliver. They were happy, I was happy. So it's funny enough, we were both happier in that scenario when I charged at least the average, if not more. And so if you're looking at another stream of income as being an employee or a contractor, know that you do not want to be the cheapest person on the block. But you do want to see how you can add value. And the great thing about this is if you don't feel like you're the type of entrepreneur that likes to start things, this is very helpful because it's nice to be able to plug into a system versus trying to create your own system. Because I like to create my own business, but the thing is, like, I know there's a lot of people out there that do not like to create a business from scratch. Are any of you guys like that on here? Like, anybody here say, yeah, I'm not the serial entrepreneur. I like to use systems. How many of you guys like to use systems as opposed to making it yourself? Do yourself, or I like systems. Which one do you like? Do it yourself. Systems are good. Michelle's typing as well. Must be a long one. A little bit of both. I was just gonna say, you might be both, and that's perfect, and that's great. This is one idea of many, but thing is, there's always an ability to create money outside of the business. I'll give you another example. I know a business consultant that I've worked with in the past, not somebody I've done much with today, but I caught up with him over lunch a few years ago, and I asked him what he was up to. And even though he was working with the company and contracting with them and had a really good alliance, he actually found a lot of success in the public sector. He found a lot of success in going to like cities and different government type organizations, and he'd been rocking it there and making lots of money. In fact, he's making more money there than he was in the original company he was with. So lots of options. Here's another one, number 2, and this also goes well if you like systems especially, or you're not the person that's the do-it-yourself person, is find a partner. Or if you are the do-it-yourself person, find someone who is like Derek, for example, who loves systems, and you guys can create a nice partnership. I use the piano guys as a good example because, one, their YouTube videos are pretty cool. They got great music. But it's interesting that these guys as individuals didn't do much in a solo career, but you throw them together and all of a sudden these guys become YouTube sensations, right? Amazing how that happens when you synergy between people that have different strengths. And you create something new, something special when you do that. And so partnership especially works more in business, although this can work in other areas. Because, for example, I know people that partner in real estate. They partner in different ventures, for that matter. But sometimes finding a partner or someone to help fill in the gaps where you're weak can be an awesome, awesome thing. And so that could be an option for you as well. I did have somebody who did this. In fact, really cool. One of my clients, he was a chiropractor out in New York. He decided that he wanted to venture out into doing oil investments, right? And he wanted to do that. Now, when he looked at the oil investment, he realized when he took it through my scoring model, for my clients, I have a scoring model that tells you what opportunities you should say yes or no to. Ideally, say no to most of them, right? And only yes to a few. Well, he's getting close to a yes, but there was some uncertainty about control and risk. And I asked him, I said, well, is there a certain place where you can get on the board of advisors? Can you be on the chair, the board chairperson or something like that? He said, that's a good idea. I should check that out. And so rather than just throwing money at it and hoping, he's like, I want to have some control. And so he actually asked them, they said, yeah, if you invest X amount of dollars, we'll put you on the board of advisors. So he did. What's interesting, while he was on that board, he could see some holes. And he said, you know what? I'm seeing some things here. You know what you guys need? You guys need my expertise because some of you guys are great at finance. The others of you are great at operations and drilling oil, but you're not great at bringing it all together. You guys don't communicate well together. He's like, but me, I have great skills being a CEO. I know how to run a business. So I want you guys to appoint me as CEO of this company, of this investment company, right? Appoint me as CEO, pay me a salary, and I'll make sure that we do that. So he did two things at once, which is awesome. You think about how he created cash flow here. One, he created cash flow because he became the CEO. And it wasn't much. It was like an hour or two a week he was investing into this, right? So $1,000 a month as a CEO salary, plus he was earning interest on the oil investment money that he had in there. So he was like double dipping. He was making money from the investment and from being a business partner. So that's kind of what I mean by there, is that there are some cool ways you can make money that way. Did any of you guys get any ahas so far with any of these last two ideas? Anything that you're like, maybe I should try this out? Anything so far? Derek said, interesting. It is interesting. I agree. Cool. Let's keep moving on. We're moving a little bit more now. Oh, Tiana. Food for thought. Awesome. Glad to have you on, Tiana. You got California represented too. Loving it. So now we've got the whole country involved here. We got all the corners now. So the next one, and this is another one as well, where it's like network marketing, direct sales, multi-level marketing, whatever. I want to include this one in here because if you want to make money in 90 days or less, this is a viable option. Now, here's the thing. I'll tell you that for me, I've been approached by lots of network marketing companies, and I say no to pretty much all of them. And here's why. And here's what I would recommend. If you're looking at a company, it's got to have a reason bigger than just making money. In fact, anything from here, really any of these options I'm telling you, I'll tell you one thing I've seen in common with hundreds of clients that I've worked with, and even people I've worked with in the stock market where I used to do stock coaching. I taught 200 people how to trade stocks and options. I'll tell you, it's interesting, but I've seen people that whenever they try to only make money, that's when they don't make money. In fact, that's when they usually get in trouble. If you're just purely money driven, there's no passion or mission behind what you're doing with any of these ideas, you will probably lose money. I'll tell you though, the ones I've seen be very successful and do exceptionally well, better than the rest, is, all right, we'll see you, Derek. Thanks for coming on for a minute. I'll tell you, the ones that have done better than the rest are the ones that have a passion and mission beyond the money. They don't need the money. Well, they want the money, obviously. The money is a great thing, but they'll do it regardless of the money. And those are the ones that are successful. Those are the ones that excel in these areas. So I recommend you really consider that when you look at this. Network marketing is a key here. Network marketing can make great money. A lot of people say they're scams. That's usually because those people don't know how to run a business. They jump in thinking these expectations that they're going to get rich quick, that they're going to make lots of money really fast. And then when they don't, especially because they think, oh, I just have to recruit a few people and I make money, then all of a sudden they're ticked off, right? The thing is that network marketing is a very viable business. I have lots of friends that are millionaires in that space, whether it's direct sales or multi-level marketing. However it's structured, I'll tell you, people make good money doing that, especially if you're really good with the relationships. If you're good at connector, this could be the thing for you, and especially if you don't want to have to deal and create systems. If you're not the person that says, I like to create things from scratch, this could be a great system to plug into. There is low risk. That's part of the reason why a lot of people fail, is because there's not a lot of money involved. I mean, you don't have to put a lot of money in to join that business. Where, like me, when I started Money Ripples, I put a good chunk of money in. I put a lot of years in education and training, even leading up to the time that I started Money Ripples, and then even after the time I've been in Money Ripples, I've been investing in my business and my education to keep getting better as an owner. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money, a lot of experience. Where in this realm, there's not a lot of money involved. It's very possible to make money with almost no money at all in this arena. So if it speaks to you, great. It's an awesome option. But if it's something you're only doing for the money, I would say don't do it. Find something you're passionate about, that you love, that the passion just oozes out of you if you're to do that route. Now, there's another route you do that's similar, but it's not the same. That's a franchise. So I talk about franchises in this sense. Franchises, I have pictures of different franchises that are more popular, but you have to understand there's a lot of franchises out there that people have never heard of. Give you an example. Here in Utah, in fact, I was talking to a guy that actually brokers with franchises. This woman already had a health care type of business. She was already doing nutrition coaching and things like that, but she wanted something else. And she wanted a kickboxing gym, because in the area of Utah, there really isn't a lot of kickboxing, if at all. And so she found that there was a hole here, and she found out that 70% of people that do kickboxing gyms are women, and that was her target market for her other business, and that was her current following. So she said, you know what? Let's start a gym. She found a gym, and between the franchise fees of getting it started, because that's the downfall, there are franchise fees that can be more expensive. Between that and getting it started, getting up and running, it's roughly a total investment of about $70,000. Now here's the thing, with 70,000 bucks, if let's just say that, for example, with $70,000, it would cost her $1,500 a month. The key is if you can make at least $1,500 a month in that business, then it's worthwhile, isn't it? If not, then maybe not. And so that's what she did, and it helped amp up. It actually helped support two of her businesses. So she used it as an expansion for her. The thing is with franchises, you do have to be careful. One thing is nice that they do have a system. Some of them are so rigid, though, that you have to be careful. I had a client where they had a very popular, I won't mention the name of the franchise, but a very popular women's gym. And the one problem we had is when we were trying to find other ways to create income within that is that they were very strict on marketing. They said you cannot stray outside of our guidelines. We have the materials you need. You do not create your own materials. You do not create your own marketing. You only do what we have. And so it was very rigid to the point that she really couldn't create a whole lot of income with that because we were very geographic specific. We were trying to do marketing based on the location where she was. And so just be careful of that. If you decide to choose a franchise, and like I said, I know people that do offer franchise type of systems. If you know someone, if that's something that sings to you, great, but you got to be careful about the terms and make sure that you do have some flexibility if you need to be flexible. If you like to be rigid and you want everything spelled out for you, this is perfect for you. By the way, cool note, if you've got a retirement account like an IRA money, you can use IRA money to purchase a franchise, which you can't really do with your own business. If you're just like Money Ripples, I couldn't use IRA money to start it, but if you buy a franchise, you can. So kind of a cool little side note there. Okay, number 5, real estate investing. I've had a lot of clients looking at this option lately, especially because one, the markets are still great. Even though they've come up for the last few years, there are still lots of pockets in the U.S. that are good. Derek just jumped off, but he's in Kentucky. There's actually pockets in Kentucky even that have great real estate. So that's something to be looking at. I'll give you an example. I had a client actually just last week. In fact, we were looking at some options. And normally, if you have IRA money, by the way, 401k IRA money that's accessible, you can actually use this for real estate investing too. I usually recommend people use other cash for it. This woman, she actually had some money that was available, and we were looking at some options, and there's like 3 properties immediately she wanted to take action on. And those 3 properties, by the way, was cash flowing. It was only using $74,000 of her money with cash flow between $1,100 and $1,200 a month. I mean, that's between like 13 to 14, almost 15 grand a year. She'd be cash flowing from only 74 grand. Now, I want you to think about this, like $74,000. Most people, they keep that in like the mutual funds that they get. Granted, the last year and a half, the market's sucked, right? It's been horrible. And it probably will continue to stink for the next few years. It's interesting, though, is that if you're lucky, on average, like net profit in the stock market, you're lucky to make 5 or 6% a year. So this is compare like what she was doing compared to what she is looking to do now. 74,000, right? 74,000 at 5%. If you earn 5% net on $74,000, that's roughly about 3,700 bucks, right? $3,700. That's not bad. That's average. That's not like every year, but that's average, right? That's what she would do. Now we haven't factored in taxes. This is probably less. But anyways, on average, 5%, right? So that's $3,700 a year. Even let's go up. Let's even put it to 4,000. Well, it's even more than 5%. She made $4,000 that year. But we're looking at making anywhere between $13,000 to $14,000 a year. Now, I want to ask a hard question of you guys. What would you rather have? $4,000 a year or $14,000 a year? Type in which one you guys would want. $4,000 or $14,000? What do you think? I know it's a hard question. $14 a year. Great, Michelle. 14. I know it's 14,000. I'm just playing with you guys. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? Here's what's even cooler. The nice thing is too, because she does have a business on the side, but with the real estate, we can make a business out of that as well. We're getting tax write-offs for it, so we're actually able to write off more stuff. So we're getting some tax advantages. Plus, we're depreciating the property. We're also, the owners, the renters that they rent to. Because by the way, that 14,000 is after property management fees. That's after the expenses, right? So now, like we got that 14,000 net profit to you, plus tax advantages, plus your renters are paying down your mortgage too, so you're building equity as well. So when you think about that, the rate of return is way more than 14,000 a year. It's easily probably over 20,000 a year with tax advantages and building equity. That's roughly about what is that? About easily 30+%. That sound pretty awesome? Yeah, that's leverage. And here's what's cool. That's monthly cash, right? So think about it. Like that's just with 3 properties. Now she was like, well, okay, but Chris, I guess I could just keep buying 10 properties. I was like, yeah, you could. You could buy 10 properties and cash flow each of those at $300 to $400 a month. That's about the average of the properties that we have. I said, you could do that. But I said, here's the thing: is what's going to happen is that over time, because you can only buy so many properties at once, right? We're looking to buy 3 this year, and then she's maxed out. She's got a house, and then she's properties. You can get by 4, and actually you can buy more than that. But that's you're maximizing your down payment, the least amount of down payment possible with 4. I said, but here's the thing: I'm like, over time, we're probably going to see some of these markets, at least some of these markets. Even if you don't make any money on some of these markets where the markets say they stay flat, great. But what if the houses start appreciating too? There might be a time where you'll say, boy, I have $80,000 equity in this property. Well, let's sell it. And with 80,000, I could buy 3 more properties. Now you're creating more leverage, right? And it's funny, when I said that, I'm like, yeah, now you're creating leverage. Now you don't even have to buy all these individually with all your money. You can just actually just keep turning properties, buying newer and better properties, or better. And you can even go commercial properties and make money there. And when I said it, I started getting chills. And she's like, oh my goodness, I just got chills. This is so exciting. Like, I'm loving this. I'm like, I just got chills too. That's crazy. So anyways, that was the kind of thing that came up that was awesome. So anyways, that's a great option. But again, don't just do it for the paycheck, because you'll be miserable. Because there's going to be months where you might not have renters, right? There's this possibility where that could happen. You're in transition between renters. So they might be paying a mortgage payment without rent. The thing is, sweet, if you love it, this is a great option. Another one is investing. Now, investing I know is a very generic term, but I'll tell you, with investing, what's interesting about this is that this can include any. Now, I mentioned like a guy did oil investments, he got some cash from that, right? But I'm even investing. This could be investing like in your own business. This could be investing in, even though I'll talk about that in a little second, but this could be things like I have some clients that are looking at some options where they want to do bridge loans, which means that companies, they're like, companies are constructing, building homes. A lot of times they need a loan in the meantime, kind of like a construction loan. Well, they'll do a bridge loan for maybe up to a year and then pay you monthly on that. Now, I'll tell you this, like some of the bridge loans I've seen that are more secure, where you actually own the property. So if they ever default, the property is yours and you can cash it out and get your money back. Not everybody does that. Some of them will pay more money, but you don't own the property. And I think that's a huge mistake. If you're going to have to, if somebody's going to default because they can't fulfill their end of the bargain, you better get an asset out of it. Would you agree? So I like less risk. In fact, I believe low risk creates higher returns. So in this case, what they do is they loan out their money. They can also use IRA money for this too. And then they might get a 4 or 5% a year contractual guarantee, contractual payout. And so if it's 4%, they'll break it up like, 1/3% per month. So if you put in $100,000, they'll pay you like $333 or whatever per month for that 100 grand. Now you're not going to get hugely rich off of that. There's no way. But if you're looking for stable income, you've got cash, and you want to at least have something to do that's short term, that could be an option. And so I've had some clients where they say, hey, I've got extra cash that I can't invest all of it at once. Let's at least do something in the meantime, and maybe that's where they look at different options like that. And by the way, that doesn't just mean you can go and loan your money to somebody else like in that capacity. It could be somebody that you know. It could be somebody who is trying to do an investment themselves, and maybe you trust them. Maybe they have good methodology. Hopefully so. If they haven't been trained by what I teach, they probably need to learn that first before. But I have seen that happen a lot since people partner up with the wrong people. But I've had people that say, hey, I know this business, they need extra money, got them some cash, they're paying me X%, like I'm the bank, and that's a great way to make money too. And in fact, that blew my mind. That was the one thing is that when I left being a financial advisor that I realized, I'm like, wait, I could be the bank. I could be the person that loans money to other people, and then they pay me a higher return. And usually they'll pay me a higher interest rate than the bank, because if the bank doesn't loan them money, it means they're higher risk usually, or maybe they're newer in business or something like that. But here's where I would do this, and how I have done this, is that if I have some sort of accountability with them, then I can give them the money. I had one person come to me. She wanted $10,000. She said she would pay me 1.5% a month, not a year, a month. So she's like, $10,000, I'll pay you $150 a month. And she's like, I need the money for, 1, I want to run for Miss Utah, and then 2, I want to do this education program in business. And I said, all right, cool. Well, first off, when will you pay me back? She didn't have any time frame when she'd pay me back. She just wanted to keep paying me interest forever. I said, two, would you be willing to go on my education program? One, so I can make sure I keep you accountable. Two, I know your finances, and I know how solvent you are, and make sure you can pay me back, right? Because I want to ensure my investment to make sure you do pay me back and keep you accountable. And she's like, no, I'm not willing to do that. And I said, well, I'm not willing to loan you the money. And so I didn't, and found out a year later she actually went bankrupt. So I was glad I didn't do that. But there's been other times where it's worked really well, and I've had people do that. I've had people do some online. There's some like shorter term, higher risk ones out there. I don't necessarily recommend those, just like I don't recommend anybody to do specific investments. I just offer options. But I did have one client that lent money out at a pretty high interest rate and got it back through an online tool. I won't mention what it is, but there's a .com out there that does that kind of stuff too. So lots of options. I just want you to know that there's lots of options. The key is which ones resonate with you the most that feel right. Next one, and this one's pretty cool because this one was the one I was able to retire off of. And this is through affiliate and referrals. I didn't know this as an affiliate type of thing, but this is where you're really good. If you're a natural connector, I mentioned network marketing is a great option. Well, this is another option. This is one where I did because so I quit being a financial advisor in 2006, but they started to notice that I was changing. My philosophy changed, my energy had changed because I was learning something new. I was learning this whole world of abundance that I'm not even getting into today, but really about the whole mindset piece that actually allows you to make more money. And they saw something different, so they started asking me questions. And I'd start telling them like cool things I learned, like strategies I learned too, like how do we leverage your mortgage and refinance and do some things there where you can make more money and get your mortgage paid for and things like that. And they're like, that's awesome. Well, how do I do that? And I was like, well, I'm mortgage licensed, but the thing is I didn't want to do the mortgages. And so one of my friends who was a millionaire gave me the idea. He said, Chris, if you don't like doing the mortgages, why don't you refer to somebody who does? Maybe some person that likes to be on the back scenes. When I talk about partnering, this is kind of taking affiliate and partnering and putting it together. It's like, find somebody like that. Find somebody who does like doing the paperwork, because I hate paperwork. Maybe you're like me that way, but I hate it. So I did, and the guy was willing to cut me half. Now I was mortgage licensed, so I could do that. And next thing I just send them on. I teach them for like half an hour, say, here's a cool thing you do. Send them on to that guy, and then he goes and does their mortgage. And then a month or so later, I see a check come in the mail. I'm like, oh, sweet. I just got paid like $1,000 or so for somebody doing a mortgage. And it blew my mind because I'm like, whoa, I did like half hour worth of work to make $1,000. What else could I do? And I started finding other companies. Even recently, I've used this one in the past. I've used it again. I refer people to like a wholesale jeweler that I know in Salt Lake City when people are looking to get a good, cheap engagement ring. I've actually seen rings where you might pay them like $4,000, but the appraisal is like $11,000. If you buy it from a normal jeweler. And so things like that. So I'm like, cool, send them that way. And then they know they got the referral from me. They send me a check because they had my address in there. And next thing you know, I became this good connector. And one of my friends even called me Mr. Hookups because he's like, man, if I ever need to find somebody, here you go. And I had another friend, Amy Walker. She's like, I try to stump Chris all the time because, I even try to ask him for a hula dancer. And he knew 2 hula dancers. It's crazy. So I like to know, I try to connect people together because it's a huge win-win. It's dollars follow value. The thing is, I'm creating value for the business owner, but I'm also creating value for the customer or client that I'm connecting them with. And if they're good integrity and there's things good that way, it gives me a good reputation too. And so affiliates and referrals can be an amazing way to create income streams. I even have an affiliate program, hint, hint, for those of my clients that are watching this right now. I have a referral program as well where somebody says, hey, I want to send referrals. Do you have an affiliate? Yes, I do. I do pay for referrals. Ask any business owner, and they will probably pay a certain amount for referrals, more than others, depending on their profits and such. So this is a big one. And then last one I'm going to talk about today. Again, there's lots of ways to do this, but this is the last one. It's your own business. Sometimes the fastest way to make cash is already right underneath your own nose. Sometimes you get business owners that are so jumpy into wanting to really get into, they just want to get into other streams of income, and I do too, right? But they want to do it so much they want to look outside of their business. Here's the one: if you have a business and you're trying to create other streams of income, we want to make sure that these streams of income do not distract you from your business. Because when you get distracted, you lose money. And it's like somebody who, if they get too heavy, hot and heavy into like into another investment, like maybe they try to do real estate on their own. I have a team that connects people with good property, so it doesn't take much of their attention. But there's some people that just want to do it on their own. The thing is, if you're trying to like fix and flip a property, for example, all on your own, you're spending all your hours there, you're ignoring your business. And that, even if you might make a few thousand with that property, you might cost yourself tens of thousands of dollars in your business. So we want to be aware of opportunity cost. There's also opportunity cost because sometimes in your own business, the gold is there. You just haven't mined it. You haven't known where to dig. For example, last week I was doing a mastermind with the new money mama, Adise Boucher. I was doing a mastermind group with her, and we had a few people there. And in that group, one of the people they do carpet cleaning and things like that. And we started talking about, we're like, hey, you've got products you can sell. What if instead of doing this for free and just giving them free product, what if you charge for this product and let them do it on their own? He's like, actually, I've been thinking about that. I've been wanting to do that. And so we said, hey, let's start doing that. Let's start getting that branch going. So it's paying you some residual income streams. We can even create a funnel and even have people, whether it's through online or offline marketing, start having people buying this from you. They can do it themselves, or they can even hire you to do it too. And you can even include that as part of the package. And we start talking about this whole product funnel and creating that. And I'll tell you, most business owners do not have a good product funnel. They have like one or two main products, and that's it. They don't have a sequence to get people to try them out and get an appetizer, eventually get hungry for more and have them come in. That kind of thing you need to have. You need to start bringing people in and getting more leads in to help your business increase as well. And I will tell you, from my own experience and hundreds of my other clients' experiences, when you start to focus on how can I leverage my time and ability and my ability to market. I mean, even me doing this webinar is leverage, right? Because there are some of you that registered for this webinar that either had to jump off early or you're watching this later on over this next 24 to 48 hours. I'm doing this for a reason, because I want you guys to be able to teach many people at once. And then from there, if you want to play with me more, and I mean play, not like, hey, let's go in the backyard and play with balls or whatever, things like that. I'm not talking about like, let's engage, let's do some more things. How can I create more value for you? Like, I'm trying to give you a good amount of value so you can do that. So lots of ways to do that, especially if you have a good product funnel. That's something that actually I'm teaching at my event coming up here in the fall. I'm actually having Adise Boucher teach that very thing. So, I mean, anyways, key thing is, the principle is this, is that money follows value, that dollars follow the value that you create for other people. And the cool thing is there's so many ways to make income. You could tell, I mean, would you guys agree, type in here, I know some of you have been off here, but have you guys got at least one or two good ideas of things you could do to increase your income in the next few months? Who's got at least a few ideas? Yes, awesome, Tiana. And Tiana, just to ask you to kind of go deeper with that, what are some of the best ideas you got from this webinar so far? What were some things you think you could do? The suspense is killing me. Increasing your business to think of other ways to make money. Yeah, absolutely. Because if you had a running business, there could be things right there. We don't have to go outside of the business. In fact, if you're just starting a business, this might be the very place that's your number one focus. And by the way, no matter what stage you are in business, I believe that this should always be your number one investment. These other investments are great, but these are like, if you've got extra cash lying around, awesome. But sometimes the extra cash can be used in your business too. So awesome, love it. So let me talk about some things here that can help you with that. Because here's the thing, like, you guys, if you guys are looking for other ways to do this and what might work for you, there's a few ways you can engage with me. One, you can just send me an email, chris@moneyripples.com. That's CHRIS, right? And just say, hey, Chris, like, I've got this cash. I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to have it in the stock market anymore because I'm sick and tired of investing in everybody else's businesses except for my own, or the fact that it's not even making me money, or I'm losing money. I had a guy just yesterday, an old client that we haven't been in touch for a few years, didn't move his money out of the market, found out just in the last year, even though the market's been pretty much just down slightly, he lost like 10%. Crazy. More likely than not, he's probably got all these extra fees on his mutual fund off. It was insane that he lost 10% of his money. So, hey, if there's something that can help there, great. Another way too is if you want to learn other ways. One, for your business, like I mentioned, product funnel. I'm actually having an event coming up September 16th and 17th. It's called the Wealth Empowerment Intensive. And I know some of you that have been on this have already been to this event. But we're adding a fun little component where we want to add some more business training with this. Now we're doing money training too. I'm teaching about investing. I'm talking about how to free up cash flow. My average client finds $33,000 a year, either money saved or money earned, or usually a combination of the two, right? And so we start talking about that, like how do we increase it, how do we protect what you have, how do you manage it, how do you manage your money easily, right? How do you actually do that without taking more time? So it's about more money, more cash flow today, more peace of mind, get on the same page with your spouse, your partner. It was crazy. Just a few years ago, I did one of those events, and several of my clients, 3 of my clients, there were couples that came from all over the country, spoke up and they said, Chris, we made $26,000 extra this year, or we found an extra $40,000 or $50,000 this last year. But Chris, the best thing we got is that it saved our marriage. They got us on the same page as a couple. So it's huge. Less stress, better quality of life, more time freedom, just more confidence where you are. And so anyways, that Wealth Empowerment Intensive, I've actually increased the price over the last year. It's $997 a couple when you buy at the regular price. However, right now it is an early bird because it's June or end of June going into July. And this is in September. So early bird is actually it's online for $247 a couple. So to get that, I just realized I didn't put this in. Let me type it in right now. The web address is wei0916.eventbrite.com. Or you can just go to www.moneyripples.com/wealth empowerment intensive. There's dashes in between those words. Or you go to moneyripples.com, you can kind of get there eventually. But if you go to those 2 links there, you'll actually be able to see more information on that. But yeah, that's actually $247 a couple, or become as individual, I believe it's $197 as per person, but only $50 more if you partner or a spouse or something like that. But I do encourage that you come with a spouse if you do come. But anyways, I'd love to have you guys there. If this is something you want to learn more of and dig deeper and find more ways to create cash flow, this is great. If you're like, Chris, I don't even want to wait till September, then shoot me an email. But as a reminder, just remember that cash flow is freedom, because cash flow creates more options. And I'll tell you, when you have more options, just like I did when I was able to retire in 2006, and I'll tell you, and even like right now in my life, like when you have more options, you have more time, more freedom. That's where you can love loved ones the most, and that's what's huge. And so, again, I encourage you to stop living paycheck to paycheck, stop working the daily grind, and make it an effort. So anyways, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. My time is up, and I hope to see you soon. I hope to talk to you soon, and let me know how I can best serve you. Hey, guys, have a great day. We'll see you.